Allora, buonasera a tutti e a tutte e grazie veramente di cuore per essere qui di lunedì pomeriggio, che non è proprio il giorno del pienone per il Salone, e grazie per essere qui anche per l'ultimo incontro della sezione Anime Arabe, che è cominciato peraltro proprio in questo Spazio Internazionale giovedì scorso con un incontro su orientalismo di Edward Said. Quindi sono molto contenta di aver cominciato con uno dei grandi intellettuali, non solo arabi, uno dei grandi intellettuali per la dimensione internazionale, come era Edward Said, che ci manca molto, e di concludere parlando di un altro anniversario, non del 1978 in cui era stato pubblicato il testo di Edward Said, ma del 1948, un anno importante per tutta la regione araba e per tutto il Medio Oriente, che però non vogliamo, per così dire, commemorare, ma vogliamo partire dal 1948 per capire che cosa è successo non solo alla terra ma soprattutto alle persone, agli esseri umani che su quella terra vivono, su questa terra potrei dire, visto che ci ho vissuto molti anni. E soprattutto ci piace che a raccontare le vite e la terra non siano due politici, non siano due giornalisti, ma siano due artiste, per la precisione due curatrici d'arte. Accanto a me c'è Galit Eliat, una curatrice d'arte israeliana che ha lavorato molto in Israele, soprattutto costituendo il centro d'arte di Holon, e che adesso invece vive ad Amsterdam. E accanto a lei Reem Fadda, che vive a Ramallah, ma forse non sappiamo più dove Reem vive, perché Reem ha vissuto ad Abu Dhabi, Reem ha vissuto molti anni a New York, ad Amman. Entrambe mettono assieme una dimensione locale, che è quella del rapporto con un luogo difficile, e la dimensione internazionale, perché entrambe sono due curatrici d'arte di caratura internazionale. Perché chiamare due artiste, due curatrici d'arte a parlare di un tema di cui pensiamo debbano parlare solamente gli specialisti, i politici, i politologi, i giornalisti? Perché non è più possibile che di queste questioni parlino solamente loro. E per un altro motivo che forse chi mi ha ascoltato altre volte troverà ripetitivo, e cioè che questo secondo me è il tempo degli artisti, perché gli artisti possono darci delle chiavi di lettura che noi probabilmente non abbiamo. Ne parliamo oggi, ahimè, e siamo state facili profetesse Lucia ed io, sapendo che si trattava di una giornata a rischio, ed è infatti stata una giornata estremamente dolorosa, ed siamo solo all'inizio, forse. Fino ad ora sono 37 i palestinesi che sono stati uccisi a Gaza, dentro Gaza, al di là della barriera, e 1700 i feriti. Quindi è una giornata dolorosa, quella in cui affrontiamo una storia dolorosa, e vorrei anzitutto chiedere a Galit e a Reem che cosa ha significato per loro come artiste e come persone impegnate lavorare con il dolore.
Lavorare con il dolore. Pain?
Yeah. No, oh my god, oh my god. Allora, la risposta di Reem, io credo che Reem prima o poi mi odierà, perché io faccio sempre delle domande un po', le metto un pochino in trappola. Galit ancora non c'era abituata, ma Reem sì. e quindi vorrei sapere da lei che cosa pensa.
No, she'll start. Yeah.
She will start.
Yes.
Okay. Galit, she will start. Galit, live.
Yes. Yes, we are live now, as you see. So I know that you didn't come to watch the news, but still, it's feel disattached and unresponsible to talk about Palestine at that moment when so many things happened in front of us. Many people killed today, and it's not yet the end of the day. So if you ask how to deal with pain, how to deal with conflict, I think the first thing that I would say is to not to shy away, not to turn the back to the problem. And I think this is how I met Reem. Reem, okay, I will say something that you told me. I hope it's okay. A year after I met Reem, and then I will talk about our first meeting. A year after, Reem told me, I need to tell you something, Galit. You are the first Israeli I met without uniform. She was 25. Yeah, after she graduated in Goldsmith, we were introduced by an artist in my age, Khaled Khouani. He introduced us because I work with Phil Mazelwitz, a German architect, and we wanted to do a project together with a Palestinian artist and a Palestinian Institute. I was the director of a public institute in Israel. It's mean money coming from the state, from the city. I was in Ramallah, which is an Israeli. I'm not allowed to be there. As an Israeli, there is a military law that basically said that Israeli can't be there. At this time, it was not kept so strictly. Today, it will be much more difficult to travel. And then I met Reem. Reem was very nice, young curator. And we worked on a project, but just a year later, I learned from her the difficulties that she had to meet someone from Israel, that all the image that she had as a young woman in the age of 25, it's people in uniform.
No, it's good. Yes, it's the personal experience of having... It's important for us to also say that we worked together at a time when it was not possible to think about the fact that a Palestinian and an Israeli would come and work together, and this is not a statement for normalization. Okay, we are not here to say that we are equals. We're not here to even represent the conflicts in that kind of way. This was a true... Scusate. So basically, it was our effort of two real human beings meeting on the same principles, on the same political ideals, on the same... let's say, terms of understanding of what we want to do in our domain of culture and arts from the same perspective. And it was the meeting of minds and meeting of souls and hearts in a real kind of essence. And we drank a lot and had a lot of parties as well. So, but we had a real relationship, and this has been a friendship for a long time. And for us, I think I have to say this, and I have to acknowledge that Galit really helped shape who I was, who I became as a curator as well, through the work that we did in Liminal Spaces in the very beginning. And Liminal Spaces, the project that we worked together on, was one where we dealt with the confines of the space in Palestine due to the occupation. There's a separation, there's this huge wall that was being erected at the time. There was closure, there was checkpoints, there was further isolation happening. This is 2006. This is after the coming of Hamas into government. It was a very critical time. So we wanted to deal practically through the curatorial voice in looking at urban logic. How do you break urban spaces? How do you break isolation in a real way through the mobilization of a collective of artists and people and thinkers and people who work in ministries and, you know, human beings who have the potential to actually do something. So I think this is my answer to you about how do you break the pain. Imagine in 2006, it was 6 years for me to leave Ramallah to enter into Jerusalem, which is, it was 10 kilometers away. I didn't go, remember we went around in 2008, around in Palestine. It was my first time to go into Israel in 8 years. This is a small country. It's tiny. We were all smuggled. She helped get as many permits as possible, but we were also smuggled by buses. And we decided that it's not enough to do exhibitions. How do you exhibit in a place that is so overwhelming with visual reality about the suffering of others? I mean, how do you exhibit something like the live feed that we just saw? How do you exhibit that? You live in a world that is abnormal, unusual. You still have to learn from your environment and your surrounding. So we really conducted these kind of trips in various cities, had discussions with other people, and allowed time to forge relationships, to forge ideas. And we didn't care that it was an art project or written material, or if it became an exhibition in the end. It really didn't matter to us. So I would just say that it was open-ended. It was about the process. And I think later in life, and in my studies in philosophy, I've discovered how important it is, this issue of like owning your time. And what does it mean to accumulate time, right? If you accumulate time, you have capital. And I think what I, as a curator, I believe in the accumulation of human time as a resource to create knowledge and ideas and relationships and to create betterment for the future. So facile, small projects, I'm really not interested in that kind of language either. It's not this is not where I'm most invested in. And and again, how do you deal with pain? You need time to heal, right? You require time for healing. That's how you deal with pain.
Siete riusciti a curarvi? Heal. Did you reach to yes, both of you.
I don't think the situation, it's all the time, you know, it's like what's happened, it's like when you have a wound, yes, and it's all the time open and open and open again. So maybe it's become sometimes less sensitive, but then the infection and you don't feel how rotten, yes, and deep it's the wound because it's all the time triggered. I want to say something. Like, you see, Reem and me, we are good friends for many years. And when we worked together to the end, we understood that we can't make any exhibition. A lot of artworks produced, some of them went to Documenta, some to others. But one thing, it was very clear in the end. We didn't do any exhibition with this project. It project for 3 years with a lot of production. It was clear that we can't continue in this path because what it's produced, it's the healing. What it's produced for the outside, which is not the real healing, it's produced equal situation. You see, Israelis and Palestinians can talk. Israeli and Palestinian can live together, can produce together. Yes, each one of us has to make different kind of exercise that the outside can't see to produce what we did, and it's not equal. I could sit in a public institute in Israel and to contact the military to provide permits to Palestinians to enter to Israel. Reem couldn't do it. To enter to Palestine, I had to smuggle myself inside and outside. The situation is not equal. And what we came to the decision, I think, and it was quite harsh, because it was considered by the European Union and other successful project. It was really big amount of artists from both sides, different generation, producing and crossing, and a big network created, but we say, no, we can't continue. And we refuse to do any other project that could show any kind of symmetry, not to create what it's not there, to create reality, which is to produce fake reality. And this is important, so it's nothing, there is no healing. And I think also with the artistic tool, we need to be very careful. We need to be very careful of what we stand for and not to portray reality which is not there, which is artists sometimes tend to do. Because they say, and the comments say in the art can produce otherwise. But the otherwise can't be with the cost of not recognizing the one that are not privileged. And this is quite easy to render through art.
And I think we're all damaged goods. So I'll go even beyond what she said. We had the wound, it got infected, we dealt with the pain, and then we had to amputate. You know, unfortunately, and now we're limping. It's not. It's not about. We're damaged. This is a reality of. This is a reality of anger and aggression, and a lot of. I want to say anxieties of who we are and how things are not enough, and how you start to approach everything with a certain level of suspicion. So I'm sorry to be so vague, but it's the psychology of living in such tumultuous times and in a place that is very particular. Yeah, I mean, just like both Galit and I coming here, you know, hearing the numbers of the fact that there's 41 people killed to this hour in Gaza, where the demonstrations have started, and we know that most of the demonstrations, the majority at least, it's all it's non-violent demonstrations. In the worst part, they probably have stones, or they're using whatever kind of makeshift small handmade weapons. And 41 people are killed with sniper guns, and 1,000 and something, 1,700 are injured now. I mean, and we're coming to this panel. So it's we both decided that that we cannot sever ourselves from this reality, that this is a reality that we want to share with everyone, because we are knowledge makers. We really believe in the knowledge making process, and we have to share this kind of live information, even if it's a symbolic moment to say, this is what we have, this is the reality that we have.
If I have to choose. What? I took Bibi Netanyahu out of the picture. If I have to choose, I don't want to see him on my screen, sorry. So, it's a very simple act. This is what we can do. Yes, as people.
Allora è questa l'arte, è questo il modo in cui gli artisti ci possono aiutare a focalizzarci, a mostrare la realtà e anche a farcela interpretare o a spiegarcela.
Wow. I'm not sure it's a good moment. She's more positive than me. I'm older. I use this. I want to show you something. Okay, so I will go with you. But this is, you need to remember, happened 14 years ago. So 14 years ago, before I entered to Ramallah, before I had the courage, because I didn't know how. Later I will tell a story. So this is a project that we did in 2004, 1st of April. The wall was not yet complete. I will jump. You don't see the whole film and you can't hear the sound. It's like too loud here. So it's the wall, you know, like the usual photos of two young people going. And then I was the director of a public institute, don't forget, Israeli. So I had equipment. We brought equipment, 2 video projectors, 2 video cameras to Abu Dis. It's a Palestinian village that the wall crossed the village to 2. So kids that could go to school and it will take them 10 minutes, now it could take them 3 hours. The wall was not complete yet. We work with Sabrin, which is a music band in East Jerusalem, and some friend Chayan and others from Palestine. And the reason that we did it, we were unsatisfied from going to demonstration, so small groups, it's this left and the other left fighting together, so the left inside also quite unstable. So we decided to bring our comrades, friends, to see the wall. The walls were built, everybody were against, but nobody really visited and saw the wall. So we decided to do kind of an artistic event. We were very cautious not to beautify the wall. So we wanted to project and to leave no sign around the wall. We use, this you will see, this is like, there is a little hole on top and below each panel for the crane to lift the panels. So we use this to run wires. And this is Terry Baluta, it's Chayan, Ronen. So we mount 2 video projectors. And we left it. We didn't know what to expect. We made a closed circuit camera. So soon you will see what people are watching. The other side. And people came, took from the house chairs and sat like in an open cinema. It was a very simple trick. It was just 2 cameras back to back projecting the other side. And people started to use it to communicate. We didn't use sound because we didn't want to ask a license for demonstration. And I'm not sure you can get a license in this near the wall. And the border police was crossing back and forth, but they couldn't say anything. It was absolutely not clear to them what we are doing there. But I think one of the most fantastic moments, and I hope I see nothing, it's so small. I want to I wanted the sound will go, that people can
Sound?
the sound need to go to the HDMI. Okay. So in certain moment, this is Said Murat and Eitan Heller. It's all the people that participate. It was the head of the Department of Art in Bezalel. This is the soldiers. So when we added, we heard the soldiers telling one to the other, they made the wall transparent. So they basically repeat our yeah, here. This is what I wanted. And this is a pity that you can't...
A century ago, the Balfour Declaration recognized the right of the Jewish people to a national home in this land. And exactly 70 years ago today, President Truman became the first world leader to recognize the newborn Jewish state. Last December,
this was a moment that we came with one artistic idea, but I think the community was much more courage and much more imaginative than us. They just used it for their own. They invited songs. Today it will not happen. Today no one will go and able to go near the wall and to create what's happened in 14 years ago.
And interesting enough, because the topic is really, I think for me, it's been, it's interesting that we're looking at this footage now. This is Abu Dis, this is the parameter of Jerusalem. Now we looked at the footage about Jerusalem itself and the move to inaugurate the US Embassy and give recognition to Israel that Jerusalem is its capital for the Jewish state. And that was also a topic that I recently worked on quite a lot in an exhibition that I did. It's the inaugural exhibition at the Palestinian Museum. The title of the exhibition was Jerusalem Lives, or Jerusalem Lives. And for me, the whole point of this exhibition was making a sort of a conceptual idea that Jerusalem is the quintessential or primordial global city that belongs to no one and to everyone. Okay? And if we consent that this is the global city for everyone, how do we allow it to be annexed, to be closed, to have walls and parameters surrounding it, to have checkpoints on every entrance of the city, and now we are giving the keys to the state of Israel to say it's for the Jewish state, meaning it is for a racist logic of a state. This is not a democracy for the entire world. This is not about globality. This is saying even the indigenous people who live there are not allowed to live there. And I think it's fascinating because for someone like myself who's a curator, I listen to all these politicians talk about what's happening in Jerusalem, and my sole concern with this move to the embassy, if I ask you now, why do you think we are worried about the recognition of Israel being the state that Jerusalem is its capital? I think none of you will have an answer. You would say, because Palestinians want it to be the capital. It's not that. That's not the answer. The answer is there is 300,000 people, at least in East Jerusalem, that are Christian, Arabs, Muslim, that live there. And guess how they live? They live precariously. They have been long residents for a long history, and they have only a resident ID. They do not have a proper citizenship, a proper passport to allow them to live there endlessly. They have a renewed residency, and it could be revoked for any reason. It could be taken away from them. So, imagine, they used to have demolitions of houses on a daily basis. They built a wall like we saw. Imagine what will happen with the escalation of the removal of these people that have always lived there. I'm worried about the people, about lives of human beings. Call them whatever you want. This is the same problem that we face everywhere else, where you have also gentrification, you have the removal of indigenous people in so many places in the world. But it's also 2018. Can we still talk about exclusionary politics of capital cities? How is it okay to talk about Brexit today? You know how it's okay? Because it's okay in Jerusalem. We've accepted this to happen in Jerusalem. And because we've accepted it happening in Jerusalem, the city for all Christians, okay? The second most holy site is in Jerusalem. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is in Jerusalem. You know how many visitors come to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre a year? It's number 26 on the most visited holy sites. You know which is this church that is number 2 or number 5? Sorry, number 5. It's the one in Paris, the new one, Sacré-Cœur. Sacré-Cœur is 100 years old. It's number 5. The one for all the Christians. The Church of Nativity is number 26. And guess what the numbers they gave? The Israeli government gave that there's 4 million people that visit the Church of Holy Sepulchre. Let me tell you, it's bullshit. 4 million people are the amount of people that come into Israel and out. They don't visit the church precisely. And this is what I wanted to present in the exhibition. I wanted finally to also talk about politics, to talk about numbers, to talk about real issues, because they're not just issues for Palestinians. Tomorrow, when we see the rise of xenophobia in every city in Europe, no, it happened because we're all culpable, because we allowed it to happen anywhere else. If you allow the closing of borders, if we allow Trump to build a wall in Mexico, if you allow through the financing of companies in Israel that help him to build the wall because they built the prototype and it worked in Jerusalem, then we will constantly allow this perpetuation of xenophobia everywhere else in the world. And this is something we cannot accept.
Apparently, tomorrow, Trump will come and say, the capital of Italy, it's Brussels. Why are you laughing? It's the same. It's the same joke. And apparently, the same joke repeats itself, and we are sitting passive and saying, it's bad. No, it's bad. It's not bad. It's horrible. Because he can move one embassy, he can move another embassy. If we can move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, that it's like all the embassies keeping, the status quo. Sometimes, very rarely, status quo works. In Tel Aviv, he can do it everywhere. It's not exception, or the exception, as Walter Benjamin say, when the exception becomes the norm. And this is the most alarm moment that we are all in. That those exceptions become everyday life. And it's every day in Palestine, but it's every day in your city. Because the technology that developed in Gaza, it's the technology that used here in demonstration. It's the same technology and in Amsterdam and elsewhere. It's the same tactic that developed in one place. Jeff Halper, a brilliant activist in Israel, wrote Global Palestine. So how technology to control people working in urban places, how this develop in one place, it's already in your city. Palestine, it's already here. And the method dealing with Palestine already spread. This is what art can do.
Ma voi sapete che ho vissuto a Gerusalemme molti anni, 10 anni, e mi sono interrogata sul sull'archetipo di Gerusalemme, perché Gerusalemme è un archetipo e perché Gerusalemme è una città globale, come diceva Reem. E io vorrei sapere da parte vostra perché mi sembra che anche voi consideriate Gerusalemme una città globale. Che cos'ha questa piccola città, che prima era una piccola città, adesso ha 900.000 abitanti, ma che cos'ha questa città per essere globale?
Actually, it's interesting because what's it called? I have to remember the word, which is the Roman Empire's. No, it's the. I can't remember. It's like the mapping territory, but there's a specific word for it. I'll find it. It's basically, it cites that Jerusalem is up to the south of Bethlehem. Okay, so in 50 years before Christ, Jerusalem's borders were hundreds of times more than what it is today. So, can you imagine? Like, that city shrunk in its borders after 2,000 years. And this is something that's quite important to really think about it in those terminologies. And that's the case. We've talked about this previously in our salon. Al-hudud, the borders. Everything is bordered. I mean, coming into your book fair. You know, you do the security. You are not allowed to take deodorants or water into a book fair. Oh my God, what's happening to the world? So it's this idea of normalizing security threats. You put the magnetic doors into every entrance. You normalize CCTV. For example, thinking about the CCTV and this technology, especially what you were referencing, in the city of Jerusalem, in the old city of Jerusalem, and they have a room, a primal room with screens and informing police officers, etc., that is so sophisticated. They have European delegations coming to visit this room since over 20 years now. And they see it, again, I forgot the name. So it's like the very important achievement, and they show it, and they have all the information. It's available online on the internet. You find this information, that they like to promote it to other European cities so that Europeans adopt it as a way for control and surveillance, so that it's very easy to control these cities. And because here you have certain human laws that don't allow them to surpass it, so they can't do this laboratory, they go to Jerusalem and try to fight in parliament in Europe to try to bring this technology into the various European cities. Fascinating. In terms of why is the city of Jerusalem global? Well, even when I made the premise for the exhibition, Paola, I really don't care if it really is global. I think every place in the world should be global or open. I mean, for me, globality means that it's open. Open borders, welcoming. No more provinciality and closing doors. Where is this logic of religions about neighborly love that extends and extends and extends? I don't care if it's global in how big or how small or what it is. For me, it's an issue of principles for the city. And, of course, I will play it as an atheist. I'll play it back, and I'll say, well, you have the three main religions inside Israel and Palestine: Christianity, Judaism, I meant the celestial kind of religions, and at the same time, and Islam, and they claim universality. They claim universality, but they do not practice universality. And when you come to the idea that you want to suffocate universality, you're suffocating the very essence of this kind of civic order.
What about Jerusalem as global city? I think we're beyond globality as we understood it before. I think markets run the idea of globality. I want to say something else, if you don't mind. I will not stay with the line, you know. If I would stay in the line, I will not be here. For me, there are three questions that I ask myself. How come that in the 21st century, women don't have equal income? How come that in the 21st century, people living in camps, in refugee camps in Palestine? How come that in the 21st century, people in Africa are the poorest? This is our economy. This is how the world is working. Politics and ideology, sorry, I don't believe in it anymore. It's not exist. It's about power. And the one in power try to keep power. And in 3 cases we see, you know, the one in power try to keep Palestinian powerless. Men try to keep women powerless. And people in Africa can't get a decent life. Even the land is the richest. It's the richest in the world, and the people are the poorest. And there is no explanation for it. So it's our responsibility to change it. Otherwise, we will live or in Palestine or in Africa very soon.
Allora dobbiamo non parlare di Israele e Palestina? Dobbiamo andare oltre?
I think we should talk about the implication, because the model of Israel-Palestine, it's a model. It's a laboratory, it's the last colonial project, and it's working as a colonial project. It's the last one, and we can see how it's turned. And the technology that using, any one of you that was in demonstration know that silence demonstration usually in a second turn to something else, and it's a tactic. It's tactic that the police use everywhere of escalation. So to have a better control on demonstration with many people, what you do, you create one moment of escalation, then they can use force. I can see that people understand what I'm saying because people experience it. It's developed somewhere. I know how it's looked like. I work for 1.5 for São Paulo Biennial. I could recognize in the beginning, I didn't know what it is, but I recognized something that I know, and it's quite far, Israel or Europe and Brazil, Recife, Belém, near the Amazon. It was something similar. I didn't know what. It took me 1.5 years to recognize it's the tactic. It's how street controlled, how people been walked, the military police, how and whom they look, how people shy away from certain places. So it's certain kind of choreography that was familiar to me, but I didn't know in the beginning how to put it. What is this? But I could recognize the city, something that's coming from another city.
It's true. Galit mentioned this, and this is what we're trying to discuss here, which is we both came from the specificity of the Israeli-Palestinian context, and we found ourselves living in London, New York, Amsterdam, Sao Paulo, different places, and we found the same logic is manifesting and escalating only with time. And we realize that it's the learning curve is looking at examining what is happening in Palestine to fully understand how this is being translated elsewhere. And this is a real question. For example, for people who don't know this, but military sales of Israel to the rest of the world, because it lives off its technology and military, it's $5.6 billion. And yes, it sells to Brazil and it sells to various places and does training courses. I once encountered in Frankfurt airport an Israeli officer that's standing there And basically, there's training courses that are being done in Frankfurt airport, and he's Israeli. You know, checking me in Frankfurt. So I'm not going through El Al. I was just going through whatever, Lufthansa or... So it's fascinating to think about the reach of Israel in exporting these kind of technologies, the normalization of these facets in our lives, and how we allow them to operate. And I think what we're trying to come at is, there is, the most important thing I think we're also linking and thinking about, and I think tying some of these few ideas together, which is that we become isolated, further isolated in our recluse, in our feeling of, let's say, that we can't do anything about it. We cannot change anything. It's this neoliberal essence of, I'm a consumer, I'm not an actor, I'm not a producer. My civic engagement is down to what I can express on Facebook. And of course no, but this is the neoliberal bubble that has been created. And the question is, how do we break that isolation, organize, mobilize, not expecting results immediately? Because yes, the world won't change in a day. It takes time, and we go back to this issue of time. It requires time, and it requires you believing and not seeing immediate change. And this is, Galit, where you and you lost the belief, but I didn't. I'm still retaining my positivism, but because I don't want the change to be immediate, but I want the accumulation of the knowledge to happen through all the efforts and through mobilization. I do not believe that it's for nothing.
You want?
I don't know, you want to answer and then I'll ask you.
No, you know, like we are, like, yeah, exactly. How you manage to move beyond the border?
Beyond the border.
What is this? Sorry, Geisha, like. But you wanted to talk about something else. You want to give some certain kind of optimism. This is what I feel this is kind of something that this is why we are here to say, yes, the art can render the world otherwise. Yes, it can, but not the art that you see today. I will not say where, but yes, we need imagination. And sometimes it's fine, like in different places. And I don't think it's belong only to the artist. It's not the art school that will give you anything, and not a curatorial course. We can see certain places today. Attenzione. Attenzione. We can see certain things like forensic architecture. Everybody, I don't know what is everybody. People are aware of forensic architecture, for example, using, it's a department in Goldsmith, and they're using the same tools that the army use. So they're using the same methods to tackle what is developed there.
Eyal Weizman, forensic architecture.
It's forensic architecture. It's the whole team. Yes.
Yes.
This is one we haven't argued about, like how they operate. But this is one. We see artists today going and using tools of power, or entering to places that you don't expect to see them, and working from within in different way. I believe that maybe those kind of characters, maybe they can turn things because they speak the language of power, but trying to work against power.
Mi chiedo però una cosa. Prima avete detto che avevate un progetto insieme e che questo progetto a un certo punto avete deciso di non portarlo avanti perché avrebbe significato normalizzazione. Io vi vedo qui, quindi in un posto probabilmente che entrambe considerate neutro, e vi vedo lavorare insieme. Allora, a proposito di appunto dell'essere positivi, dove e come si può lavorare insieme? Se si può lavorare insieme, per quale progetto, per quale obiettivo, per quale produzione?
How can we work together? In what circumstances? And where? Anywhere. It's. We had a lovely dinner catch up. It's been a long time. Last night, and we were talking about the fact that, you know, for example, Galit has worked on certain projects in Palestine, but remained in the shadow. Yeah, for example, in particular, she worked on Picasso in Palestine, which was a project that got a lot of mobilizing through the Eindhoven Museum. And she helped the artist, Palestinian artist Khaled Hourani, and through working with the museum in Eindhoven, Van Abe, to bring a Picasso into Palestine. But just the gestural, symbolic effort across 2 years to get a Picasso into Palestine was required an army of an effort, because insurance policies don't exist, museum policies don't exist, the army, So it was quite remarkable for a Picasso to enter into Palestine, to small Ramallah, in the academy, one little room, and be shown. And this project was extremely successful with the news, Al Jazeera. Actually, I used to work at the same academy. People didn't know it existed. By the time I came back, I was traveling, I came back, the taxis was like, I'm going to the academy. I had to say where. They said, the Academy of Picasso? I was like, yes, the Academy of Picasso. Take me to the Academy of Picasso. Everybody knew it, from the news, from the queues of people trying to go to see Picasso. Forget the story, forget the success of the story. Galit was never spoken of as an author, never mentioned. Because, you know, why an Israeli? This is an autonomous Palestinian effort. And I have a problem with that, too. And this is where you're asking me when and if and how I work with Galit. Galit is listed in my bio since 2005. Her name is attached to my name in every public document and record there is. I wrote her name on purpose. You know, you put in the biography of yourself whatever you choose. I choose to put Galit. I acknowledge her relationship to me conceptually, mentally, and in my friendship. I will work with her because it's my integrity to do so anywhere, in whatever possibility. And this is, let's say, the integrity that I stand with and respect for myself before I also respect her. And of course I do immensely, that I would want to work with her in any given opportunity.
Now I understand how you cross border. You show everybody your CV and say, I'm afraid of Galit.
I wish.
And now why I can't cross border? Because we saw Reem CV, so you don't allow to enter.
That's the joke on my husband. My husband just applied for an Israeli permit and was rejected, and he said, "It's because of you. They rejected me. I used to get the permit. It's only because of you."
Because you're a friend of Galit, and Galit are not in favor of Israel.
Torniamo per un attimo a Gerusalemme, per gli ultimi 5 minuti. Torniamo a Gerusalemme perché noi abbiamo parlato di Gerusalemme Est e di Gerusalemme Ovest, delle due capitali, e allo stesso tempo abbiamo parlato di una città globale. Nella mia esperienza di 10 anni di vita a Gerusalemme, per 10 anni io ho pensato a una città divisa. Ho pensato a una città in cui ci fosse l'Est e l'Ovest, e nella realtà è divisa. Di questo abbiamo già parlato un po' con Reem a Beirut, grazie alla Fondazione Merz che ci ha fatto incontrare la prima volta. Grazie. Però questa città, visto che tu richiamavi una mappatura di 2000 anni fa, questa città è corpus separatum dal 1947, ma questa città da migliaia di anni è una, e noi la consideriamo divisa nella contemporaneità. Come si fa a considerarla una ancora questa città?
I think we shouldn't see it as two. We shouldn't accept it. I think first of all, when it was two cities, it's like it's my lifetime. And I hope that in my lifetime, yes, it's become one city. You know, like we tend to see its politics, yes, 67, and then, you know, basically Israel living the corpus, it's like the evangelist one, it's not the Jewish one. It's never written that the Jew need to control Jerusalem. Work there, yes. Live there, pray, yes. Even not in the, we don't have a constitution, yes, but the idea that the Jewish people coming to the holy to work, to make the work of God, this is why 100 Gates, the ultra-Orthodox, don't believe in the state of Israel. Regardless the Messianic project, it was Yeshayahu Leibovich was insisting on this, that it's another project, it's an evangelist project, I would say. So they have 48 people of, you know, the Jewish people came to the Holy Land, control most of it. And then, sorry if I offended anyone, I'm sorry. But this is not the Jewish narrative. And then in 67, rule Jerusalem. Now, everybody waiting to the third temple. And the third temple, if not in Jerusalem, built already in São Paulo. So this is like there are three groups that working to escalate the situation in Jerusalem and with Palestine. So one group give money to both groups. So both groups will be strong enough to fight. Some groups, you know, Netanyahu sent a soldier with a uniform to talk in front of an evangelist group of people in the US. No army, including the Israeli army, send a soldier in a uniform if he is not in duty. You send uniform in duty, yes, a soldier in, only when it's in duty. You don't send it to talk and to impress people. So there is something which is absolutely twisted in this marketing of the, you know, divided city. Divided by whom and why? We accept those kind of things like they, you know, fall from the sky without asking what it's behind it. Where is to whom this narrative belongs?
And also to talk about the divided city. I mean, this is, as Galit was mentioning, it's also recent history. This is the narrative after 1948. Let's say the old city of Jerusalem itself did not have a Jewish quarter pre-1948. It had maybe a few families, but there was never a Jewish quarter. Okay, so this is a recent history, and this is a history of colonization. You have a huge colonial inputting into the state of Israel, the usurpation of land. They, for example, completely demolished the Moroccan quarter. There's all the stories, there's all the history, YouTube videos, everything about this, some through sales and some through usurpation. Let's take a look now at Silwan, inside the East Jerusalem, on the borders of the old city. Silwan, the neighborhood, is a continuous colonial project by settlers inside the old city. And I'm not, as much as I'm an idealist, but I'm also a very practical person, and I like to talk about politics like Galit does, in a factual manner. Jerusalem is prime real estate. Sorry, it's prime real estate. This is what I asked my young partner said to me, why we don't care about Jerusalem, I don't want Jerusalem. I said, great, you don't want Jerusalem? Let's talk dirty economy and politics. You are a businessman, you sell stuff. Would you like the opportunity one day to have a shop in Jerusalem or in Abu Dis, where they're planning? Abu Dis, by the way, is not just a small neighborhood, but it's the junkyard. It's the place where they sell rubbish, where there's a lot of trafficking that happens. You want to have a shop in Abu Dis or in the center of Jerusalem? Where would you like to have the rights to build your prosperity and your economy and your well-being for you and your family? Let's talk real estate. Give me money. Let's think about these things. Imagine when your house is being demolished, when you're not allowed to increase by a few centimeters. Your punishment is they demolish your entire house and your residency is revoked. This is politics of colonization, which means stealing. It means I will take what is yours and make it mine because I deserve it. I am better than you. In a racist ideology, I am better than you. There's no other logic. Sorry.
L'argomento è estremamente, come dire, difficile da trattare e credo che a questo punto mi dice Lucia che è tempo di andare. Io ringrazio moltissimo Reem Fadda e Galit Eliat perché hanno accettato questo invito, direi con affetto, e lo hanno accettato per spiegare perché è una questione di narrazioni. Noi abbiamo intitolato Anime Arabe quest'anno narrazioni, narratives, ed è una parola che è risuonata per 5 giorni in questo Salone del Libro, non solo dentro la nostra sezione. È una questione di narrazioni ed è una questione, come diceva Reem, e come ha fatto Galit con quella operazione sul muro, è una questione di conoscenza, di rendere le barriere e gli ostacoli trasparenti perché si possa guardare l'altro. Se c'è una cosa che credo anche Lucia si augurerà, è che siamo capaci di ascoltare le diverse narrazioni e di ascoltare il modo in cui le diversi protagonisti interpretano la realtà e anche quello che i diversi protagonisti vivono, perché spesso quello che succede è che non si guardi l'altro. Quel muro che voi avete visto è alto 9 metri. Il muro di Berlino non era alto 9 metri, il muro di Berlino era molto molto più basso e consentiva di guardare l'altro, anzi di dire io sono meglio di te, mi mostro e dico io sono meglio di te. Un muro che può essere un muro di cemento, ma può essere anche l'incapacità di parlare con l'altro, rende impossibile comprendere quello che sta succedendo all'altro, soprattutto rende impossibile umanizzare l'altro, che è proprio quello che sta succedendo e non solo in Israele e Palestina, quello di non considerare l'altro umano, di non considerare l'altro un essere umano. Non so se Lucia vuole aggiungere qualcosa perché siamo alla fine di Anime Arabe atto terzo, quindi no. E allora salutiamo tutti quanti e vi ringraziamo anche di averci seguito con passione per questi 5 giorni e ancora un grazie, un applauso a Reem Fadda e Galit Eliat.